What is up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Warthog Gaming Podcast, hosted by me, Hamish Hector.
And me, Oliver Barsby.
How you doing, Ollie?
I'm doing okay this week. I've had a nice rest. It's been my first rest for a good while, to be honest. A proper, a good few days of just pure, not focusing on anything, not focusing on gaming from the gaming industry news type of perspective. I think it's been the most out of the loop I've been. I've been, like, I wonder what's going to happen with the PlayStation 5 price this week. Is it going to get revealed? Luckily, it hasn't for me. I've not been that busy. But yeah, I was in Edinburgh for the week, home of Rockstar North, I think it is. So I think they had a hand in GTA and Red Dead Redemption. But yeah, it's been nice chill week. What about you, Hamish? How have you been doing?
I've been good. I'm just sort of relaxing a little bit. I'm visiting Izzy, so my background is a little bit different to, well, at least last week. I was going to say normal, but we've only done one show. And
make sure you're recording this week.
Yes, I have hit the record button, so hopefully it was all working. I've also got Izzy just checking us all on the good. Okay, apparently our volume's all good. She can hear us, so that's nice. I lost track.
Good.
But no, it's a really good time. I've also been a little bit out of the loop. I've caught the Mario Direct, which we'll be talking about soon, and there's been some Pokemon Go news, and I'm always up on Pokemon Go. But there are a few other bits that you alerted me to. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It should be really, really good to talk about some things. Though, even though you've been sort of on the go, have you had a chance to play anything new this week, Ollie?
I thought I'm going away for a few days. I got the train and then was driving in the car for a good few hours. So I was like, what better way to keep gaming than with everyone's of the hot craze of portable gaming at the moment, xCloud. I tried it out. I think I've talked in the past about how I got Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So I've got my PlayStation 4 controller here with a little clip which you can. Let me see. This is the benefits of the camera.
You can actually see stuff going on now.
I can demonstrate to everyone who's not listening on our many platforms. So here's how I would game. I hope I'm not showing any messages there. But like that. So I tried that out on the train mainly. And I have to say, it was fun when it worked. But people think, xCloud, portable gaming, the main way to play it is on the go. On the go gaming. You play it on the train, on the bus to uni, etc. The thing is, our system's 4G data, mobile data, is not good enough to support xCloud. I was on the train. Right. I was trying to play. It just didn't work, and I was like, "Oh my! Please let me play Forza Horizon."
I can imagine train Wi-Fi, because they advertise that you can watch all these films and stuff, and I've never been able to work it. And 4G, that's just gonna rip through your data plan unless you're got unlimited or something. Yeah. But yeah, well, good on you at least trying it. Was it able to work in, say, wherever you were staying?
It works when you're connected to Wi-Fi very well. I played a bit before, I had to go and not play games on holiday, as you'd expect. As you'd expect me to do, yeah.
Holiday's the time to play games, really.
Yeah, of course. But when you're paid to go somewhere new and out and about and explore the whole little city of Edinburgh, maybe don't stay inside.
No, that's in fact
Halo. One Tell Me Why it comes out, that's a different story though. On xCloud.
Yeah.
But yeah, it works well on Wi-Fi, and it means, I think, because I do have my desktop set up with xCloud, but I'm just not. I want to wait until these games come out on my phone to play them that way. Just because it's a bit easier. I don't know. I don't really like sitting at my desk and playing games that way. It just feels a bit weird to me. Just from a personal perspective, I like sitting on a couch, sitting on my bed, doing it that way.
Yeah, that's always been the killer for me on PC gaming. That I have to be at a desk, and it just I want to just sit back, relax.
I'm a relax,
Not the triple chin going. It's good stuff. No,
after the food I've eaten in Edinburgh, blimey, I'll have a triple chin.
Yeah, and then my gaming wise hasn't been on the PC or on the mobile. It's been on my Xbox One, and I've been playing. Of course, I've been playing the Control DLC, the AWE expansion. I'm very sort of mixed on it. I think I had quite high expectations for it, because mixed just in that I did love it. Control, it was a fantastic game. I think I just expected a little bit too much out of it, because I was one of the people that thought, oh, this is basically going to be Alan Wake 2. There's going to be loads of new stuff in it. They're going to bring Alan back. It's going to be fantastic. And obviously they didn't do that, but there was a lot of teasing for an actual Alan Wake 2, which I'm very excited about. They sort of did some, I think it's an epilogue, which very strongly hinted at a release for a game in about 2 years' time. They specifically said 2022. And they said, actually, they forget that. I think they just said in 2 years' time. But it was really, really awesome how it rounded off sort of those connections, because obviously Control had a lot of references to Alan Wake in the original base game. So it was cool to actually sort of pick up on those threads. They solved one of the biggest puzzles from the beginning of the game, from the game's release. So the really cool action sequence through the ashtray maze, there's a song playing called Take Control, and it's written by these guys from Alan Wake, Odin and Thor, the old gods of Asgard. Very fun characters, very cool old rock stars. But as you play the song, there are these really weird reversed clips, and when you play them forwards, they give some weird hints. So I think some of them are like just some weird phrases. One of them is like a series of numbers, and then another one's a bunch of weird phrases. And in this DLC, they finally sort of put those pieces together. So if you sort of, there's a certain area where it all matches up. So I think it's like through a drunkard's eyes, and there's an area which is all sort of wibbly and wobbly as you go through it. You'll see double, and there's a picture of a wall on a wall. And if you've played Control, if you see that, it means, you can break that area and go into somewhere new, and all this other stuff. You put the numbers into a clock. It's cool, but it just gives you this it was a really good sort of rounding off of picking up on those last little bits. And it was, I think some people were a little bit disappointed by that puzzle, because it didn't give you anything really big lore-wise. It literally just told you what happened to Odin and Thor after Alan Wake. But as someone that was very invested in those two characters specifically, it was fantastic for me. I loved it.
I know because we obviously first played Control together, didn't we? Sort of together, as in side by side. When I think you loved it a lot more than me, but I have been following the DLC of the Alan Wake one. It does look fantastic. And isn't there some sort of tease at the end or something? I don't want to spoil it or something.
So they basically, it's not too much of a spoiler, I think, at this point. It's basically just at the very end, someone's like, oh, we're getting a distress signal from Cauldron Lake, which is where Alan Wake was set, but it's 2 years in the future. So that's what I was saying about how they hint that there's going to be a game in 2022. So it's very weird and trippy right at the end about how you're getting
because I didn't realize 2 years in the future meant 2022. Oh, that's cool.
So that's what people are sort of thinking that they're hinting at. And it was really cool as well. They've kind of set up that it's going to be one of the Bureau of Control's agents that's based in Cauldron Lake, because they reference that character quite a few times, and she's the one that puts out the distress signal. So it'd be interesting to see if maybe Alan Wake 2 is a combination of both her and Alan doing different things. But yeah, no, I really, really liked it, and that's been mostly what I've been playing. And with that little introduction from us both, let's get into this week's gaming news. Now, we've got quite a little bit to do, and we didn't discuss an order for it, so I'm actually... Oh, wait.
We're very prepared on the podcast here.
Yeah, okay.
As you
checking
can tell,
that people can't see my stuff. So I'm going to go for the big one. From Eurogamer, I'm getting this information by Tom Phillips, the news editor, and it is, of course, it's been hinted at for so long. Every single little tweet had people saying, yes, the Direct will be this week, the Direct will be that week. The Mario Direct finally happened. We saw so much of the 35th anniversary information, and I think there's not too much, and I actually kind of want to talk about all of it. So I don't think this is actually in chronological order. So I'm just going to go with some of the smaller bits first, and then work upwards. Does that make sense, Ollie? So
of course.
I think one of the smaller ones for everybody was, because also it'll be on a small console, is going to be the Mario Bros. Game & Watch. The actual little classic device. It's going to have lots of different Mario games on it. It's going to have some Game & Watch games on it. It's going to have a clock and all of that stuff. It looked cool, but not really fantastic. It was a bit meh. I guess people are going to love it. What did you think of it? Did it get you wanting to buy it?
It's very cool. You know, it's definitely pandering to the nostalgic, older type of gamers. Will it entice me? No. But I think from someone who, you know, never played the Game & Watch because I'm assuming I can speak for you as well, Hamish.
Yeah, I'm a bit too young.
We were a bit too young to play the Game & Watch consoles, but I think it's quite cool for people who, you know, will look back fondly on their days with the Game & Watch and be like, this is cool, you know. And Nintendo fans do like every sort of, if you're crazy about old type Mario, old type Nintendo, you will lap this up and you will love it. And I do think it's quite cool that they've got it in both, you know, it's the classic Mario games and in the Game & Watch sort of original game. That is quite cool as well.
Yeah.
It's a nice announcement. I don't know the price. I'm not sure. Let me try and have a look, see if they announced the price. But I don't know if they have. But I reckon it'll be quite expensive.
Yeah, I can see it being.
How much is this game?
Yeah, I was about to say I could see it being about £50, and I don't know whether that's really worth it. I felt like it'd be.
You can get the Super Mario Bros. Games on Nintendo Switch Online for free, and you know these aren't exactly new games. I guess it depends on will you want to pay £50 for this Game & Watch. Does it have any different changes into its aesthetic which make it worth it? I don't think it does.
So. It's just it's basically just it's like a miniature Game Boy Advance because it's all on one screen, isn't it? With just the simple buttons, but just the style of a Game Watch. You can only play, I think, about 3 or 4 different Mario games on it. So
you can play Super Mario Bros, Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, and then Ball as Mario version. And then, just in case you you don't have much access to a phone or a watch or anything, it also includes a digital clock.
Oh wow!
And that's on.
I always wanted to know what time it was. I wanted Mario to tell me if it was 3:40. Oh,
you can
damn
whip
it.
out this bad boy. Whip out this bad boy instead of a watch. You know, that's the ultimate power play.
Though the hardware that I was most interested in, and I thought was a really, really cool idea, was the Mario Kart Live home circuit. It will be cool to see how this moves along going forwards, as it may hopefully they'll introduce sort of new little toys and carts. But I think the concept of it, if no one saw, was basically you get a Mario Kart and a Luigi Kart toy, like a remote control car, and they have a little AR camera sticking out over the front, so you can drive around through your real life home as Mario and Luigi. And you also get these, I think it's 4 plaque things you can set up that the cars can drive underneath. Then you put these around in a room. You can log in what shape circuit you want, and you can drive around racing not only the real kart, but I think you can race off against some virtual players. I don't know whether it's online. It might just be just sort of virtual AI characters.
I think it's just virtual. I think you can play local multiplayer with like 2, maybe.
Just the 2, yeah.
But I think it's AI, local AI.
But I think it's really cool. So, and also, you know, if you're racing as Mario versus Luigi and you're Mario and you lob a shell at Luigi in the game, the Luigi figure will stop when it gets hit. And I think that's a cool way. Obviously, not quite as cool as it maybe spinning out off the track, but it's a fun way to sort of mimic the game. And you know, again, it's one of those things. Maybe if it's the right price point, could see it being a very, very good holiday item. I mean, it comes out on the 16th of October, so that's prime time to be a Christmas present for lots of kids all over.
Am I going to take the negative perspective from this item again? Am I going to have to be like, well, because I think it does look cool, you know, but for £99, is it £99 worth of fun? Maybe not £99. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. I would prefer Mario Kart DLC. That's just my perspective. It does look cool. The thing for me is, you know, I don't have anywhere where I can set this up in my room. I think it's probably tailored to the families who have a big living room and can set it up around a sofa, as shown in the trailer, rather than me in my dingy student flat with a little circle. I can be like, hey, I'll put it in this circle maybe. Um, but I did. It looked really cool. But as I said, I was like, please, just Mario Kart 8 DLC. Give me some new tracks. That's what I want. I want to have a reason to go back to that game because I've not played it for quite a while now, to be honest.
Yeah, actually,
But it
that's
did look
fair.
cool, yeah.
I
It
played
did
it.
look cool.
It did look. No, you finish.
I was gonna say it did look cool, but £99 worth of cool is a lot of money, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you there because I played Mario Kart for the first time in ages with Izzy and her brother yesterday. It was
Yeah,
a lot of fun. But yeah, it was kind of samey to go back to those tracks, so it could have been cool to see some new stuff. £90 is a lot. I guess it kind of makes sense for the AR toys. I wonder though if
oh, it's yeah.
I wonder if the
I'm guessing
game
that
adds anything to that as well. But maybe they could have had it as sort of like an add-on to the original Mario Kart. So you get
mm,
Mario Kart 8
yeah,
Deluxe and you get these cool toy things. Maybe I don't know, but
yeah. I think it's a lot. I mean, because it comes with it's a toy, and then you have the gates. I think the gates are the things
yeah,
which sort of make it work. But yeah, £99 is a lot for because I'm assuming as well it won't play as well as the normal Mario Kart games. There won't be the drifting techniques and all the
no.
items as well.
But I
It will
guess
be a very
it's aimed at a
basic
younger
game.
audience, kind of like a
Yeah,
scale X trick
it
thing.
yeah. I mean, I'm very excited to see the cool stuff people can do with it. Making your own tracks outside or in special sort of areas. That would be really cool.
Hmm.
But in my
Yeah,
little dingy flat in Leamington,
not
there's
gonna
not much to
happen.
offer.
Well,
Not gonna happen.
a game that I think we can both definitely enjoy from our dingy little flats is going to be Super Mario Bros. 35. And I think this is
Eh,
probably the middle announcement that I've got it here. But for me, I think this is the best announcement. I think it's such a cool idea. It's
mm,
playing on Tetris 99 so well. And
yeah,
I just think this is the best way to make Mario into a battle royale. So again, anyone that's not seen the announcement, quick explanation. You've played the original Super Mario Bros. Game, or well, some version of it that originally came out on the NES. This is basically that, but the big twist is as you play through the game and you defeat enemies, those enemies get sent to other players' games. So it starts off quite simple and easy, and then progressively will obviously get more confusing. I think on the trailer screen here, they've got someone on a screen filled with Goombas. They've got some piranha plants, some turtles, some Spinies, and they even have a Bowser. I wonder if that's actually real or just somebody sort of that they've just put on a screen here. But I think that could be a really clever way to make Mario
yeah,
competitive for lots of people all over the world.
yeah. I think, as you said, when I first saw the trailer, and it had this things of a side, isn't what because I think you can attack different players with different items or different abilities and whatnot. It did heavily remind me of Tetris. Is it Tetris 99 or something like that's
Yeah,
what it's
Tetris
called?
99.
Yeah,
I
and
do
I was
believe
like,
at least.
this, yeah, it is a very cool looking thing. I don't know if it's just for Mario 1-1, or if it's for other levels. I hope it's for other levels, but
On here they have other levels. It looks like you can see definitely
okay,
some
that's cool.
underwater, some underground worlds. I think
That's
it's
cool. Yeah,
just I assume it's gonna be just Mario.
yeah, presume it is. The
It's
only one I'm being so pessimistic during this Nintendo thing because
it's okay.
that's how I am doing Nintendo at the moment. The only one bad thing I'll say is that we'll come back to this later, but it is only available for 6 months. And I'm not sure if it means it's only available to play for 6 months or only available to download for 6 months. But I
Oh, is
think it's
this
only
the?
available until there's two. It's this and what we'll talk
Oh,
about
it's
next.
both.
But yes, this is available for free on Nintendo Online, but it's only available
Yeah,
until March.
it arrives on October 1st and will only be playable until 31st of March because I think it's yeah, I oh that's really odd. I'm just gonna sit back for a second, Ollie, and go that is bizarre as a
Yeah,
because I understand it might not have been the most difficult thing to develop and introduce, but I feel like this was a really cool idea.
It sounds cool. It's cool. And for those 6 months, it will be, pretty fun.
Yeah, I'll definitely play a lot of it.
It'll be okay, yeah.
Well, let's put a dampen on it. Well, then on to the next thing. Then the second to last announcement, I guess, well, proper announcement. There are a few in-game events in like Splatoon and Animal Crossing, but they aren't coming for a while, so we won't talk too much about those. We have got the Super Mario 3D World re-release on the Switch. The popular Wii U platformer is making its way onto the new sort of favorite console of everybody on the planet. And they've also announced that it's coming with a Bowser's Fury, which I think is some kind of DLC. I don't know whether that was originally
I think
released.
It's probably some sort of DLC.
It looks new. And I think it's 3D World remade, or not really remade, just re-released. It looks identical to it was before, and 3D World looked pretty cool. I'm not the biggest fan of Mario platformers, but I do actually kind of enjoy the more 3D ones. Weirdly, I don't like 2D Mario, but getting to move around and explore a world is a bit more fun to me. So, yeah, I think this should be fun.
Yeah, definitely. I think it should be fun. Again, it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, another port. Come on, this give me Super Mario Odyssey 2. But I think I am, of course, expecting way too much from Nintendo. And it was expected, Everyone was saying Super Mario 3D World will be the next Nintendo Switch port. We've had so many. It's only a matter of time. Basically what Nintendo seems to be doing is they acknowledge that everyone with a Switch just didn't play the Wii U, which to a huge extent is true.
Yeah.
I didn't have a Wii U. Lots of new Nintendo Switch players didn't have a Wii U, so these are all new games to them. I mean,
printing money.
Yeah. Is it going to be a 50, 60 pound, 50 pound game again? Probably. Will I buy it? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's coming out in February.
Oh, February maybe, but it depends what games are coming out in February as well. Then I guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If there's not much else going on, it might be one worth picking up. Though one game I actually would quite like to pick up is this final one. Though we'll be talking more about it later in depth with our topic. That is the Super Mario 3D All-Stars. There were lots of rumors around this game for a long time about what games it included, but it was finally revealed it contains 3 titles: Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy. Yes. 3 pretty popular games. Ignoring Mario 64, which has been re-released and remade on a bunch of different platforms, Nintendo platforms. This is, I think, the first time that Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy have been available off their original consoles, ignoring, forwards compatibility.
Super Mario Sunshine on the Wii.
Yeah,
but yeah.
You needed the GameCube disc, but this is the first time they've actually sort of been reintroduced. Obviously, the first time any of these games are available on the Switch. On the one hand, I think it's really cool. I'm excited to play Sunshine. It's one of those games that's always been really expensive to buy. It's like one of those games that everyone loves to talk about, but it's still like 30 quid to go and buy it in a secondhand shop because GameCube games still just held their price. And Galaxy was a lot of fun, so I'm sort of stoked to that. Though, yeah, this is another one of those weird ones which is only available until the end of March 2021.
It's such a weird thing they've done. Timed availability does not make sense to me. Sure, timed availability for physical editions because of coronavirus impacting the distribution. I would get that maybe, as in saying we can't do any more, but timed digital just does not make sense to me at all. I don't understand at all what this is, how this benefits Nintendo. Apart from, I guess they can try and make people buy it quickly because they can be like, look, it's exclusive. You have to buy it in 6 months. But it doesn't benefit consumers at all. It doesn't benefit immediately Nintendo, I don't think. It's just, honestly, I don't know why they made this decision. What negative point is there from having this game available after March? That's my question.
I wonder if it's maybe something to do with like because again, because on the one hand I want to say, oh, but Nintendo games, they love to keep this idea of their games are really premium. They don't love doing discounts on their own main brand things. But again, sort of thinking that though, it's digital. It's not like you can resell it. If you wanted to,
Exactly.
if you wanted to give it on a Switch to somebody, you'd have to sell them your Nintendo account and all of that. So
I'm just baffled by the decision. The only reason the only explanation I can give, which is in some resemblance of a okay, I'd accept that, is that Nintendo is planning to release one with Super Mario Galaxy 2 in sort of April, May, or whatever, and that's why you can't buy it because it will come with Super Mario Galaxy 2, which also coincidentally is not available in this 3D All Stars one, which is a real great shame because it's probably the best out of them all.
It did feel a bit wrong.
Yeah.
Because I think Mario Galaxy 2 was rumoured to be included in this. I think there was another game as well. I think 3D World was rumoured to be included in 3D All Stars as well.
It's just, I mean, I was kind of like, oh, this is cool. But again, the thing for me is it's just the basic main games in terms of, none of them are remade. None of them are remastered with upgraded Mario graphics. You're playing them like they were when they first came out, which to some people is good because they can play them how they remember when they were younger. But the way I see it, I'm like, I want to play these games in the Nintendo Switch sort of engine, in the Mario Odyssey style. I don't care as much about the sort of mechanics, just the graphic wise. Upgrade Mario, put him in the nice, beautiful looking style he is in what's it called, Mario Odyssey. Just upgrade all this stuff, I think. But there's not really. I mean, I know it's obviously a bit derivative of game design, but I think you've literally just got these games and ported them onto a Switch, and are saying, "Here, please buy our games for $60. Thank you. We've essentially copied and pasted some ROMs. And you can play these games on your computer. As in, I could literally Google now. Obviously, I'm not going to because pirating and emulating is wrong. But you can literally Google play. If I Google play Mario 64 online, and then here it is, download Mario 64 from this website on an emulator, and you can play with upgraded graphics. I just think Nintendo have easily done this, and I was really hoping they did, and it's a great shame, in my opinion. But it will still sell like hotcakes. So
yeah, well, we can talk more about all of this with our topic, because remakes, remasters, and sort of where Nintendo sits in that is something we want to discuss more in depth. So I'll save my stuff for then. Though, sort of some kind of good news on people listening to fans and kind of taking into consideration all of this stuff is my second news thing that I wanted to bring up was Pokemon Go have reworked how Mega Evolution is going to work in their game following some fan criticism. So again, I'm getting this information from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer, and this is really, really good, Ollie, because basically, I don't know how into Pokemon Go you are, but there's been a lot of stuff happening with a lot of events. Recently, new Pokemon coming out left, right, and center, especially from Unova. But obviously, the other thing they've brought in now, finally, is Mega Evolution. I think the coolest mechanic Pokemon has had, if you Mega Evolution to Dynamax to Z moves, the original was the best. And the way it works in Pokemon Go is much like evolving a regular Pokemon. You need candy, but in this version, you need Mega Candy. It's this extra new form, and the main way of getting it is from doing raid battles, which are a little bit complex right now, but are doable. If you can, especially with remote raid passes, you can start to find smallish groups congregating at a distance nearby passes, particularly because gyms have an extended radius now, so you can be further away but still interact with it. But the big problem was you needed so much candy. I think you needed about 400 in the past to evolve one of the mega starters, so Venusaur, Charizard, or Blastoise, which is quite a lot. And the maximum you could get from a gym would be like 55. And that's if you somehow defeat the Mega Evolution Pokemon so quickly. They've now increased that maximum to 90, so it becomes a lot easier to start getting that. Actually, the minimum amount of candy you can get is 50, so it's actually way better. It's practically doubled. And they've also done a few other small fixes. The other thing as well, if you've played the mainline games, as you have, Ollie, you'll know that Mega Evolution doesn't last forever. It goes away at some point, and that's the case in Pokemon Go. But you still need quite a bit of candy to reactivate it, and sort of people are saying it doesn't last for long enough, or the effort to get it back, it just isn't worthwhile. So you're just putting stuff in your Pokedex now, and it's not fun. They've now tweaked that as well, so it costs a little bit less. And I think overall it's going to really help Niantic keep fans online. I think there's a good sort of showing of them saying like, hey, this isn't... Fans aren't okay with this, please fix it. And they've done that, and I think that's really awesome for them. And they've announced there will be more stuff coming. They're going to be starting to make Mega... changing up how Mega Raids work slightly. They want to work going forwards to have sort of walking with your buddy, yield, all of that kind of stuff. Everything else. And I think that it's good to sort of have that happening, and it's always nice to see games listening to fans.
Yeah, I think from an outside perspective, it was time they added Mega Evolutions in. Is my point of view. My limited Pokemon Go experience, as we've established in this podcast many times, is it's really good they've added it in. Do you think they'll add in the other ones? Have they added in Dynamax and the Z moves, or that malarkey yet, or will that be added in the future? Do you think?
They haven't added in anything yet. They've got some Alola forms, and they've got some Galarian forms now, but they haven't got Alola or what's the other one? They haven't even got Kalos Pokemon in the game yet, or Galar. So yeah, they've still got lots to do.
Because the way I see it is, I think it's just my own perspective. I know every single Pokemon game has its own, as people call them, gimmicks. In terms of, Gen 5 had triple battles. I think I don't know what Gen 4 added. Gen 3 added abilities, and double battles, all this type of things. But for me, the gimmicks in the latest two generations, so the Z moves and Dynamaxing, have not been as good as Mega Evolutions. So I'm glad they've added Mega Evolutions, because it was a good thing. I'm just not sure how they'll incorporate Dynamaxing and the other ones in without overcomplicating Pokemon Go, in my opinion. But obviously, I don't know enough about the game, really, to say that, so I'm just putting out my own opinion.
No, I can definitely see. I'm with you there. I'm just like firing up the game just to check some of my facts about which Pokemon are in it yet. But yeah, no, Kalos isn't in yet. It's really odd. My at the top screen I can see I've got Kanto all the way through to Unova, and then just at the very end Galar, because I've got a Perska. Yeah. They did a Galarian Meowth. That's very cool. There's also a Galarian Zigzagoon and all the way up to Obstagoon that I think you can add to your Pokedex, but I've not been lucky enough to find one yet.
No.
Oh, you can get Galarian Stunfisk as well, but that doesn't come in the Pokedex. I'm getting distracted. You're right, it will get quite confusing, but I'm excited to see. Pokemon Go is still mostly fun. There are some... It's a love-hate relationship. Mostly love, but sometimes real frustration. But that's kind of how it is with mobile gaming. Though speaking of mobile gaming, you have some mobile gaming news that you really wanted to get in on. So, Ollie, why don't you lead us off with that one?
So it's been one I've been following just from a political perspective as well. It's been, a quite interesting development. I don't think we talked about it maybe last month. I'm not sure. But essentially, a few months ago, there was some fears that PUBG Mobile would be banned in India because, for those of you who don't know, there's some ongoing conflict between India and China after there's some conflicts in the border between soldiers, and from there it sort of escalated, and India has now been banning Chinese-made apps under the pretense that from sovereignty and security concerns, these apps pose a threat to not only the country but individuals' data. and including apps like WeChat and TikTok, ones which Donald Trump has talked about in his statements. These ones have been banned already by India, and they've also sort of announced companies which they are investigating, or sort of Chinese companies which might be getting banned. And alongside these was Tencent. I think Tencent had a few apps banned in this first ban wave. I think it was last month. And then, so what it was there's quite a lot of fears that PUBG, I think Clash of Clans as well, or Clash Royale, and Call of Duty Mobile would be next. And so it's been going on and going on. And then finally, just a few days ago, it finally happened. The Indian government announced that Tencent games and Tencent apps would be banned from Indian smartphones. So PUBG Mobile has now been banned from India. And this is a big hit for Tencent. What people don't realize, I guess, is the size of the Indian mobile market. So consoles in the Western world are like things a massive. It's already expensive enough. People are like, I'm not spending £400 on a PS5. Someone in India is never going to be able to spend that much on a PlayStation 5. So what they do is they play on either they go to cafes to play games, or they play on their mobile phones, which are quite a lot. Often they're quite cheap. With Vivo is one of the smartphone manufacturers where you can get it for a bit cheaper, and you can play games like PUBG Mobile on your smartphone. And I think they have a PUBG Lite, which is basically a lighter version of a game which doesn't require as much data or storage, but you can still play the full game. And this now being banned, so PUBG Mobile has now, well, not yet because the ban is in place, but just like the Fortnite with the Apple ban, the update there's no update yet, so they can still play the game. But when the next update comes, Tencent will essentially lose 29% of their mobile market, because that's the percentage of people who play games in India, and India will essentially, there will be very limited in the games they can play. So that's what's happened in there, and I just think, it is a great shame, because gaming still is quite a privilege, I would say, in many countries, especially in it's a privilege afforded to people in the West, which isn't as much accessible in other places in the world. And I think, depriving people of these games in the West, not outside the West, will just, it will damage the gaming industry, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's obviously a lot of back and forth with people all across the globe against Chinese markets, and I think you were mentioning Tencent is so involved in so many different games. I mean, they're involved in Epic as well, to at least some percentage. They're involved in, just seems to have a finger in every pie, and so obviously as they get affected across the world, it's going to be we're going to see knock-on effects. I think that I can definitely see from some of the news that I've seen as to maybe why India would take these moves, and I think it was something that was probably going to happen, and I think that it will continue I can see the ban continuing on until these conflicts are sorted, or at least as best sorted as they can be. And I think I don't have as much to say really on it. To be a bit, I don't really know what else to add. You were quite in depth, but I think
it's just one of those things,
PUBG is such a popular game, though. Yeah, I feel like it's losing out, because there's other things. Well, we've got the Fortnite stuff, and I think that that we're going to see a lot of pushback against some mobile gaming, even though it's like the biggest gaming market right now. I think there was a report out recently that something around 3.5 billion people are gamers, or would identify as a gamer, but I think over half of those 3.5 billion are exclusively on mobile, pretty much. And so obviously that's limiting what people can enjoy and get their entertainment, and I think that could have knock-on effects and problems. I don't know how many people are going to be super angry about PUBG, but someone that probably invests a lot of time and money into that game definitely will be. For me, I don't think
Indian players there's a big sort of outcry in India about this, and there was before. I think there was some warnings that this could rejuvenate the Indian voting, in terms of the young people could essentially, if it's an issue which is salient to them, could go out and be like, give us PUBG back to put it crudely, if that makes it's an issue which affects young people more. Not just PUBG, obviously, that's reducing it to a lower level, but controlling the applications and the mobile phones and stuff of the young people who feel that the Indian government don't perhaps know or aren't tech savvy enough to know and understand the needs and how these apps work. It's sort of an idea that these people might be get angry at the government and then go and be more likely to vote than they usually are.
Well, whatever gets people voting. Actually, the only other thing I want to add on this story is I was looking at the BBC article there, who I've grabbed it from. It doesn't say who it's by, it's just from their technology department, obviously.
Yeah, shout out, the BBC. Shout out the BBC if they ever need some gaming articles, come to the Warthog podcast. We'll be happy to oblige.
But I really like the tagline on it. The image they have is that PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is one of the most popular battle royale video games and a rival to Fortnite. And I just remember back in the day when obviously PUBG was the big one and Fortnite was coming in, and now how have the tables turned? I'm not a big fan of PUBG anymore, unfortunately, but hey ho.
Well, actually, there's one battle royale. There's one battle royale, isn't it, which is taken over and is now bigger than Fortnite according to Twitch, which we are now live on.
Yeah, exactly.
Fall Guys. Have you played it yet, Hamish?
I did finally play some Fall Guys. I was really umming and ahhing. It's not very much for a video game, but it was still just, I don't know whether I need to spend that right now, particularly when I'm in the job hunting mood. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to grab Fall Guys. I'm going to finally find out what it's all the hype is, because I've watched plenty of it. It's one of my favorite games to watch right now. But yeah, no, I've given it a go. I got so close in my last game. It was the Crown Climb.
Yeah, Fall Mountain.
Fall Mountain, and I was running up, and literally, this guy, I was going up on the right side, and I could see it, and I was about to jump, and just to my left, I see on the other side someone was just that much in front. It was the first time I got to the final. I've not got to the final before. And I thought like, oh, am I going to win this game? First time to the final, first time victory. No,
not to be. Oh, it sucks you in, and it will keep you going. But
I've played quite a few games though. I'm just very bad at it. I've yet to try any of the Tale games. I've played. I think I've played quite a few matches now. I've played like 20.
Yeah, lucky.
I've not played any Tale games.
You've not played any in 20 matches.
I also normally lose on like the second game at best. Second or third game.
The Tale games are the bane of my existence, honestly.
I also haven't played Slime Climb yet, and I know that's meant to be a very tough one.
Yeah, Slime Climb will filter you out if you don't know how to do it. It's the hardest game, it's the one which, 30 people will go in, 6, 7, 8 will come out.
Yeah, it seems like Slime Climb's the game you need to... You understand that there is a way to do it.
A bit more, it's a bit more tactical, I'd say.
But no, it's
a race.
Really, really awesome. I love it. I want to play so much more of that game.
Well, plenty of time, and it does not look like it's slowing down at all. And it's now moved from just, a normal not small, that's not really a good word to use, but it's moved from the indie game, which it was when Mediatonic, I guess, first released it or predicted it to be, since it's an indie studio, to a multi-million, I assume, game, which has now raised $1 million for charity.
Very awesome.
For Special Effects UK. It's incredible, I think. Special Effect UK is a charity that helps disabled gamers play games through giving them sort of special peripherals or controllers, which can help them play games according to their disability, which is, it's a great cause. If any of you want to donate to a gaming related charity, I'd highly recommend checking them out.
Yeah.
And so 2 weeks ago, the Fall Guys Twitter account launched a campaign on their page, making use of their hype, which they generated over the past few weeks, launching a charity auction. So it would be the highest bidder would get their own skin in the game. And this has been gradually ticking along throughout the few weeks with various brands and individuals and YouTubers and streamers putting their bids in until eventually, I think it was a few nights ago now, a final last-minute bid came in from a coalition of, I think it was Ninja, Mr. Beast, AIM Labs, and G2 Esports for $1 million across the four. I assume it's probably spread out between the four evenly, maybe not. And it won. So Special Effect gets $1 million each, $1 million, and each of these four brands / individuals will get their own skin in the game. And it's just, no matter what you think of Ninja, Mr. Beast, G2 Esports, AIM Labs, it's a great cause, great campaign. I mean, it's a win-win from every perspective. These people have got good marketing out of it. They'll have their skins every game. That's pretty cool. Special Effect got $1 million. That's insane. Fall Guys has got some new skins, got some publicity, got raised money for charity. I think there's nothing you can't be happier. To be honest, it's a great outcome, and it's just another way Fall Guys is killing it, in my opinion.
No, I completely agree. Like, I think this is such a brilliant thing. Like, we'd seen some smaller team ups. I think just between two of the groups and everyone. And for a time, like Mr. Beast and Ninja in a sort of semi-bidding war earlier on in the process. So it's awesome that they did all come together, just raise a huge load of money. And it's nice that Fall Guys also went, we're not just going to make one skin, we are going to make four, sort of appreciating that it is sort of showing again that they sort of love and understand. It's like, okay, cool, this is, we said we'll do one, but now we'll do four skins because that's the spirit of the situation. And it's a game that is so nice, and it's nice to see the Twitter and the everything come together, particularly when Twitter is like such a hard social media platform to build a community on, not just a following, but an actual sort of sense of belonging with all the people. It's lovely that Fall Guys has managed to come in and be like, we're going to be nice, we're going to be cool, we're going to share art with people, we're going to do memes, we're going to just be happy, we're going to actually also engage with what people send us, and I think that it just, everything about that game and surrounding it is just joy. It's like Marie Kondo, it sparks joy, and that is Fall Guys in a nutshell.
Exactly. We love to see it.
Though it is really weird when people compare what the Fall Guys would look like with people, and you sort of see the 6 foot chart, and they're just such big blobs, and you'd think that sort of guy running down the street.
1.83 meters. That is canon how tall the Fall Guys are.
Yeah.
Canon. Confirmed by the Fall Guys account.
And they can take some beatings as well. They get my Fall Guy gets whacked so often on the gate crash. I hate being first. Or was it where you like ram into a wall? And I have a habit of always picking the one that's not real.
I did one a few weeks ago on gate crash, and I had a perfect run. My luck came in. I went straight through. Every single one was a first person, obviously, and won by just doing every single one. Didn't hit anything.
Not me.
That's where my luck goes. Maybe I should start the lottery. I don't know.
I just went bang into a wall and then bang into another wall.
That was probably my 100th time on that. So it's fun. Play Fall Guys. Come on.
Play Fall Guys. So unfortunately, Ollie, we have finished the news and we can't really talk about any more positive stuff anymore because we've got to get into our topic. And I think things are going to get a bit negative because you already talked about some of your dislike for the Mario 3D All-Stars port, not even a remaster, just a re-release. And I'm going to unfortunately have to share some of those. This week, ladies, gentlemen, and people watching on Twitch and later on podcast services, we're going to be looking at what it means to remake and remaster a game and whether publishers should go above and beyond. Because I think a lot of people online are comparing what we're seeing with Mario with what we've seen in previous years with Spyro and Crash, the Reignited and N-Sane trilogy. Because those games, there's so much to compare. They're both included older titles. Both of them are with, all of them are with like classic characters, and all of them included 3 games in one. And I think when you sort of see a comparative image like I did on Reddit, it's really sort of clear to see. You've got someone did the PS1 version of Crash and Spyro next to their remastered versions, and then someone did the Super Mario 64 on the N64 versus the new Mario on the Switch 64 version. And the top two, there's some real difference. You know, they've added fur to Crash. They've made Spyro look more like an actual dragon. In the backgrounds, they've included proper grass and textures, and it looks really beautiful. That's one of my favorite things about the Spyro remake. And then you just see Polygon Mario next to Polygon Mario, and it's so sad. And then everyone also sort of is saying about how the game prices, you know, the other game sold for $40 if you go by American prices, whereas this is going to be sold for $60. And it just feels like it doesn't have the love and care put into it that it really should have done. Because again, I think some of these games are bigger than the individual Crash and Spyro games, particularly Galaxy and I think Sunshine and 64. They are bigger in the amount of content you've got, but you maybe pay more for that in that extra price tag. Having an actual remaster of it would be nice. I guess you feel the same, Ollie.
It's just, yeah, this was the time because these rumors started, I want to say February, maybe March, because everyone knew it was the 35th anniversary. I think some leaks came out early, and everyone was hoping or expecting, 35th anniversary means we'll get a remake, something special of the iconic Mario game. So I'd say Super Mario 64 is probably up there with the 2D ones as one of the most iconic ones.
Yeah.
And I think people were really hoping, we'll finally be able to play these games remastered in full 3D with Mario Odyssey-esque graphics, as I mentioned earlier.
Right, yeah.
And to just release them, normally as 3D Mario All-Stars on the Switch it's fine. I think it's okay, but it doesn't. The 35th anniversary of Mario, they are hyping it up to be this big occasion, like a huge sort of fantastic spectacle event. And I don't think just here you can play the basic game on the Switch. It doesn't scream that to me. If you said here are the two games fully remastered, sorry, with updated graphics. I don't even care about updated mechanics, just updated graphics, just to make them look nice and to truly make use of the Switch and other console. Well, not other consoles, but like other games do with the Switch and other consoles. I think that was a necessary step, and I don't understand. I mean, I can understand why Nintendo did it, but I think they should have just updated them and just given them a bit of a polish rather than just going, here's a port of a game from a Nintendo 64 and from the GameCube and the Wii. That'll be £60, please.
Yeah, because I think for me, a remake and a remaster are sort of these big undertakings. I think I think a remaster is very much all about more better graphics. I think if you're gonna call it a remake, I think you do need sort of something new to it, not just the graphics, but maybe altering the control scheme. So for example, I think the Spyro games are more of a Reignited trilogy are more of like a remaster, because there's pretty much just the same stuff there. It plays roughly the same. They've not fiddled with that too much, whereas the Resident Evil 2 remake was a remake because it was entirely different from the camera angles and all of that, whilst also looking nice. And because we've seen a lot of this sort of trend of actually properly going back in and not just putting it out again, but a developer putting time and effort into it. And I think it really shines through in the actual end product, because you not only get sort of new content just in terms of how it looks better, and so it can make certain things more of a challenge. In Spyro they've added grass textures that stick out, so it can mean that some enemies are actually hiding a little bit more, and you get some of that in Resident Evil 2. It's obviously you have the different camera angle, you can see things from different perspectives, so you have new jokes and Easter eggs to explore and discover. But then also actually sometimes they add in stuff that was missed out from before. In Crash, for the N-Sane trilogy, they had an extra couple of levels at the end that they scrapped at some point during the game because they were too difficult, but they thought, well, for the remake, let's put them back in as optional challenges. And I think that shows the love and care that you'd need, particularly for, like, as you've said, an anniversary. This is Mario. This is your flagship Nintendo character,
The
you
big
need
one,
to. Yeah, it's not Luigi, it's not Peach, it's none of these other people. It's not Link, it's not Zelda, it's not Samus. It's Mario. Sort of synonymous with gaming Mario. You need to do that character right, and I think that it's unfortunate that Nintendo seem to have gone, nah, we'll just thank you for the money. Thank you. We'll hold on to it. We'll keep it safe.
I think it's just an oversight and it's a bit of a shame. And I'm just like, oh, come on, you're better than that. It's just how I think. And I think, the thing with remakes and remasters is they often, when games are remade, people do. I mean, Link's Awakening was a remake, I guess, because it was a different art style and different in many ways. And it didn't. Lots of people didn't, were quite upset with it. But with the remasters, it's like The Last of Us remaster. It's hard to do anything wrong with it. I think a few people might be like, "Wow, why can't I play this game? It's full polygon glory with all the issues and bugs and glitches that come with it." But I think most people would generally be like, "Oh, I'm glad I can play this game in an updated way." So it's just, I think, you know, I get, I get why Nintendo did it from a time saving perspective, but I
Yeah.
thought from a if you're trying to make it a big, here's a Mario update, here's a big, wow, look at Mario, isn't he the best character in gaming ever?
We love
You
him.
would, yeah, you would give him the things he deserves and just remaster the games and make his character have more polygons and like the 5 that's included in him at the moment.
Yeah. Because another thing as well, I think another big important aspect of a remake and a remaster is that it makes you feel like you are playing the game how you remember it. So when people think about games like Final Fantasy VII and for me Spyro and all these other titles, they imagine these really awesome graphics, like it's so real. Wow, look at it. And then that's when you're really young, you're 8, 10 years old,
Yeah.
and then you come back to play those games when they're a little bit older, and you're like, this looks so bad compared to modern stuff, and then they remake it and it does let you have those experiences again. You look at it and you go, well, this is how I remember it looking, and it didn't look like this obviously, but it's in my head, this is how it always was. And I think that other places have really understood that. Final Fantasy VII that I mentioned a minute ago, like that's gone off the rails with a remake, but in terms of how it looks, it's like, yeah, that's how Cloud's always looked. And then you go back and you see the original Final Fantasy VII, and his arms are like polygon to polygon to polygon. It's all weird. And I think it's a shame that Nintendo haven't thought, particularly when they are like the kings of nostalgia, particularly with all their hardware, like the NES Classic and now the Game & Watch system. It's like, well, why can't you see what you're doing there? Do that in the video game. Make it look cool. Make Mario 64 look like how people remember it. Just put the modern Mario from Odyssey, just that sprite, put it in the game. That's all you need to do.
It's just, it's not making me look forwards. I mean, I know we're going away from the remasters and remakes, but it is just making me worry for Nintendo's next fiscal year or quarters because I mean the Mario All Stars is not their sort of big December game. By all means, if you release the game doesn't it come out on the 18th, which is in just over 2 weeks? To be honest?
Yeah, but maybe there'll be another direct before.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm hoping there will be another direct. I'm very sure of it.
Next week. Or if not next week, the week after, or the week after that.
I'm intrigued because it has to be, I think, it has to be Breath of the Wild 2. I don't really know what else it could be, which would be that big, unless they decide, hey, we aren't really done with Mario. Here's Mario Kart 9 or here's Super Mario Odyssey 2, but they would have released that during this one. But really, it's got to be Breath of the Wild 2. Metroid Prime 4 is miles away from being done. What are the big Nintendo titles are there which haven't been released for a while, which could attract the type of attention you need for a big December release?
Metroid stuff's been worked on for a while.
But they've just, I think a few weeks ago or a few months ago, they just announced they were hiring a producer.
Yeah, no, it's unlikely that it will happen, but that's the only thing I can think of that they've actively put development. Bayonetta 3? That's not big,
but yeah, I don't know whether it will be that big. You know, the one for the children who want, you know, what do you want for Christmas?
for
Timmy?
all the good boys and girls, as Sakurai would put it.
What do you want for Christmas? Give me Bayonetta. You know, you look at the trailer. Maybe not.
No, not family friendly. You know what would be great for the boys and girls? Steve and Smash from Minecraft. That'd be great. Everyone would love that. That's the Christmas goal. Steve and Smash, or Waluigi and Smash, both.
Waluigi and Smash. That's the dream. That is the dream.
Well, we'll have to just keep on dreaming because unfortunately we're out of time on the show. I want to thank everybody at home currently live on Twitch that's watching us. I also want to thank you guys that have listened later on podcast services, if that is you. We will be streaming live on Twitch every Friday. I know this is a Sunday for people, but we will be streaming on Fridays, hopefully from now on, at around about 8 o'clock. We will put out more information on our Instagram, so please follow us. We are the Warthog Podcast on Instagram. I will double check. We're going very, very well. Please follow us to keep up to date on all of that. Follow us here on Twitch and subscribe to us on whatever podcast service you are listening on. Normally about this point, I'd thank Joseph McDade for making our theme song. Haven't yet worked out how to include that in the Twitch version, and I don't know whether I'll be able to put that in the VOD later on, but we will work it out eventually, and so I'll keep on thanking him for doing that. You can find a link to his stuff in the description down below, not on the Twitch but on the podcast. Anything else to add? I haven't done this exit in so long, Ollie. I forget what I need to say. I think that's it, really. I think it's just say
we've done it all. Hopefully this one will be recording.
I've got a little record button this time that says record. And also I think Twitch will keep video on demand. It should be fine. Yeah. Well, until next week, it is goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Bye.
Bye.